Hey, movie buffs. Welcome back to Movies Unboxed, your one-stop channel for epic movie recaps with a twist of humor. In 3102 BC, the battlefield looks like the world's worst barbecue. Charred bodies everywhere, the smell of defeat in the air. Amid the chaos stands Ashwatthama, a warrior with a grudge so big it could fill a stadium. He decides to hurl his remaining power at a princess in an attempt to snuff out her unborn child. But just as he's about to pull off the ancient equivalent of a cheap shot, Lord Krishna pops up out of nowhere, looking like he's had a long day and is not in the mood for nonsense. Krishna, the original, I'm not mad, just disappointed guy, tells Ashwatthama to knock it off. Ashwatthama, who clearly skipped the respect your elders lesson, tries to attack Krishna instead. Big mistake. Krishna not only dodges Ashwatthama's attack like he's in the Matrix, but he also punishes him by yanking the divine gem from his forehead. That gem was Ashwatthama's pride and joy. Think of it as his version of a shiny new sports car. But Krishna doesn't stop there. He curses Ashwatthama to wander the earth as an immortal, rotting mess until he protects the woman carrying the 10th reincarnation of Vishnu. So, Ashwatthama's got some time to kill, 6,000 years, to be exact. Fast forward to 2898 AD. The world is a dumpster fire of pollution, war, and general unpleasantness. The last city standing is Kashi, ruled by Yaskin, a 200-year-old god king with a serious ego problem. He lives in a flying megastructure called the Complex, a fancy fortress that hovers above the city like a giant, inverted Christmas tree. Inside, the rich live in luxury while everyone else fights over scraps. Prisoners arrive in a truck, and the guards, who clearly took dystopian fashion to heart, start scanning the women to see if they're fertile. Even little girls aren't spared. Any woman who passes the test is dragged off to the complex, where they'll become unwilling participants in Project K. What's Project K? It's Yaskin's pet project to extend his life using a serum made from artificially inseminated fetuses. The catch? No woman has survived more than 120 days of pregnancy. But hey, if at first you don't succeed. Among the chaos, a father tries to stop the guards from taking his daughter, but they knock him out cold. A boy offers to sell another girl to the guards, but when he turns around, she's already bolting for freedom. Enter Rhea, who's on the run until she's caught by Rumi, a member of the Shambhala rebels. They hustle Rhea to their secret hideout, where they're meeting Divya, a pregnant woman they hope is carrying Vishnu's reincarnation. They test her with a special stone, but it's a dud. No divine baby here. Before they can process the disappointment, raiders crash the party, descending from the ceiling like they're auditioning for the next mission. Impossible movie. In the ensuing shootout, the magic stone breaks, and Rhea picks up a piece of it. Meanwhile, Rumi does his best action hero impression, fighting off a raider with his staff, but he and Divya are captured and taken to the complex. The complex is about as welcoming as a haunted house. Rumi and Divya are thrown in, and almost immediately, Rumi is attacked by a beast. Commander Manas steps in, calling off the beast and demanding Rumi spill the beans on Shambhala's location. Divya, ever the realist, points out that they're both doomed anyway, so Rumi should keep his mouth shut. Manas, taking advice from no one, shoots Divya on the spot. Rumi tries to go out in a blaze of glory with an epic speech, but Manas cuts him off with another bullet. Ouch. Meanwhile, the raiders are still out there, turning Kashi into their personal playground. That's when Bhairava enters the scene. He's a bounty hunter with a flair for the dramatic and an AI car named Buji. Bhairava makes his grand entrance, then promptly falls asleep. When the raiders offer him more money to fight, he springs into action, playing music on his boots and showing off some dance moves before tossing a small explosive that sends the raiders flying. Well, sort of. It's just a flashy light trick. When the raiders get angry and shoot him, Bhairava pulls a classic, it was just a hologram move. The real Bhairava pops up and starts kicking raider butt, sending one poor guy flying against a bridge. Back in the complex, the captured women are living the dream. If your dream involves tasteless food and constant confinement, Manas and the head scientist, Yuri, are getting impatient. They decide to speed up the process by extracting the serum from a woman who's not even close to ready. The result? Instant death. The body is tossed into the incinerator, and Yuri takes the serum to the king. If you're loving the wild twists and epic battles in Kalki 2898 AD, make sure you subscribe to Movies Unboxed for more mind-blowing recaps and hilarious takes on your favorite flicks. In the royal chambers, Yaskin injects himself with the serum and promptly collapses. Just when everyone thinks he's kicked the bucket, he stands up, announcing that the serum was poisoned. In a fit of rage, he grabs Yuri, who tries to fight back with a hidden knife. But Yaskin isn't bothered by a little thing like a stabbing. He forces Yuri to drink his tears. Yes, really, which kill him instantly. Yaskin then orders his minions to find a woman who can carry the serum to full term. Meanwhile, in the women's chambers, Samanthi is having a crisis. She's been pregnant for over 120 days, but she's keeping it under wraps. Her nosy co-worker Lyle isn't about to let this go and tattles on her. Manas orders an immediate extraction, and Samanthi is carted off to the lab. While all this is going down, Bhairava is on a mission of his own. He uses his bounty money to buy a real egg, a luxury in this bleak world. Luke, a rebel, tries to convince Bhairava to join their cause, but Bhairava is not interested. He's got his own baggage. He was a war orphan, adopted by a soldier who taught him how to fight, gamble, and fix machines. When the soldier tried to sell young Bhairava to the complex, Bhairava turned the tables and sold the soldier instead. Just as Bhairava is about to enjoy his egg, he's surrounded by thugs looking to collect on old debts. But before things get too ugly, Roxy swoops in, knocking out the thugs with ease. She wants her money, too, but something tells us Bhairava is going to have to keep running a little longer. Roxy had just about enough of Bhairava's relentless flirting. Sure, the guy had charm, but it came with more lies than a bad infomercial. Fed up, Roxy left him in the dust. But Bhairava wasn't the kind to give up easily. He followed her like a lost puppy, swearing he was madly in love. Roxy rolled her eyes but finally agreed to take him to the complex, because, well, why not? Fast forward to the complex, where Roxy used her precious work permit to register Bhairava as a visitor for 60 minutes. Why only 60? Because that's all the tolerance she had left. They entered the complex, and while Roxy got busy in the generator room, Bhairava had other plans, mainly dragging her to the posh area where the rich folks live. There, they indulged in fresh fruit, horse rides, and ocean views, making Bhairava's courtship look more like a luxury vacation. Of course, paradise wasn't complete without a party crash. They found one, feasted on gourmet food, and even taught the stiff guests some carefree dance moves. But Bhairava, being Bhairava, managed to knock over a statue. As guards closed in, he was promptly kicked out. Roxy probably should have seen that coming. Meanwhile, Bonnie was off in the desert, dealing with the discovery of a legendary bow, while Rhea was busy fleeing from a raider and a robot. After a dramatic escape, Rhea ended up in a mysterious cavern, only to be attacked by the persistent robot. Just as things looked grim, an old man appeared from the shadows, shrugged off the robot's bullets like mosquito bites, and smashed it to bits. Rhea passed out, because, well, who wouldn't? When Rhea woke up, she found the old man bleeding but nonchalant. They chatted, though his language was a tad ancient, and Rhea, ever the recruiter, asked him to join the rebels. He refused, stating he only fights for one person. What a diva. Back at the complex, Samanthi had her own problems. She was strapped into a machine, which promptly malfunctioned and sent alarms blaring. Bonnie's attempt to grab the legendary bow resulted in him being launched across the desert by a surge of power. Clearly, this day was going swimmingly for everyone involved. In the desert cave, Ashwatthama had a powerful vision, causing Rhea's stone to glow. He slapped it on his forehead like a fashion statement, confirming he was indeed the ancient warrior. Over at the complex, Samanthi was ejected from the malfunctioning machine and rescued by Lyle, who turned out to be an undercover rebel. The duo made a daring escape through a tunnel, only to be caught by guards. Lyle heroically threw one guard off a bridge and held the door shut while Samanthi fled. As if that wasn't enough drama, Samanthi, pregnant and all, walked through flames like a boss, leaving the guards toasty while she collapsed on the other side. Manas arrived just in time to find Samanthi gone, the rebels having whisked her away. Bhairava, who was still in the middle of his love chase, caught sight of some lightning striking a building. The resulting chaos revealed a glowing religious symbol, because why not? The next morning, Manas visited Bonnie, who proudly showed off the bow, until a machine tried to grab it and got zapped into oblivion. Samanthi, now safe in a rebel vehicle, learned they were heading to Shambhala. But because things couldn't be that easy, they were stopped by raiders. The rebels, masters of disguise, played the "we're just humble scavengers" card, but a nosy guard discovered their hologram trick. The rebels sprang into action, quickly dispatching the raiders, but an alert was sent out. Cue Bhairava, who now had a bounty on the rebels. As he charged into the desert, Kyra, a rebel with a hoverbike, launched a bomb at a pursuing raider vehicle. Boom, problem solved, until more raiders appeared. In the ensuing chaos, Kyra's hoverbike crashed, and a raider jumped into the rebel car, knocking a Jew out cold. Kyra, refusing to let her day get any worse, leaped into action, fighting the raider hand-to-hand before heroically sacrificing herself by causing an explosion. Classic Kyra, always going out with a bang. Bhairava finally arrived, only to be chased by a collector who wanted his money back. In an attempt to escape, Bhuji transformed into an aircraft, but alas, malfunctions led to a crash, and she had to revert to car mode. Because, of course, nothing was going right today. Back in the rebel camp, drones attacked, causing one to crash into a statue, blocking the road. The raiders surrounded the rebels and shot a Jew, but before they could finish the job, Rhea arrived with Ashwatthama, who proceeded to bend weapons like they were pool noodles. After defeating the raiders, Ashwatthama knelt before Samanthi, recognizing her as the carrier of a god's reincarnation. Naturally, another raider tried to ruin the moment, but Ashwatthama ripped off a piece of metal to use as a shield. Bhairava showed up just in time to make things worse, getting tossed around by Ashwatthama like a ragdoll. Not one to give up, Bhairava used a hologram device to create copies of himself, but Ashwatthama wasn't fooled for long. After another round of Ashwatthama smacking Bhairava around, Bhairava pulled out special handcuffs to capture Ashwatthama's hands. In true Ashwatthama fashion, he exploded the cuffs with his power and the fight continued. Just when things looked dire for Bhairava, Bhuji tried to ram Ashwatthama, only to be stopped in her tracks and promptly destroyed. So much for a happy ending. Bhairava doing his best Spider-Man impression, leaping onto a pillar to bring down a bridge. His target? The indestructible Ashwatthama, who casually rises through the debris like he's brushing off dandruff. Bhairava, not one to give up, tries to go old school and wraps Ashwatthama in chains. But guess what? The chains just inspire Ashwatthama to bring down an entire building on Bhairava's head. Now, that's what I call overreacting. News spreads like wildfire to the complex. Bonnie, ever the optimist, connects the dots and decides the prophecy is about to come true. He's probably got a countdown timer for this eclipse where, if they don't eliminate Samanthi's baby, Yaskin's going to be in trouble. But you know what happens in prophecies? Drama. Cut to the rebels returning to Shambhala. Ashwatthama has to give the guards a little pep talk like, "Hey guys, I'm on your side now, remember?" Some rebels are skeptical about Samanthi being the chosen one, but just in time, the skies open up and it rains for the first time in decades. The rebels freak out like kids seeing their first snow, hitting the gong to announce, "The prophecy is happening, people." Suddenly, Samanthi goes from regular girl to queen bee, with the elders treating her like she's royalty and blessing her left, right, and center. Meanwhile, Bhairava wakes up in the desert, surrounded by guards. Talk about a bad wake-up call. The guards announce he's blacklisted and officially banned from the complex forever. Not the best way to start your day. Dejected, Bhairava returns home, probably thinking about binge-watching some sad movies. But Luke shows up with a pep talk and offers to get him back into Shambhala, because apparently, he's that convincing. Bhairava agrees, but surprise, surprise, he's actually acting. A flashback reveals he struck a deal with Manas. If he can capture Samanthi, he'll be welcomed back into the complex with open arms. Oh, the drama. So, Bhairava starts tinkering away, fixing up Bhuji, the psychic robot, not a pizza, to leave with Luke. Meanwhile, back at Shambhala, the rebels are throwing a massive farewell party for their fallen comrades. But Samanthi suddenly has a vision of dead bodies everywhere. Talk about a buzzkill. She starts doubting if she should even be there. Ashwatthama jumps in with an epic monologue about responsibility and convinces her to stay. Enter Luke and Bhairava, cruising into Shambhala on Bhuji like it's no big deal. Luke's like, "Hey guys, don't shoot." But of course, Bhairava uses that distraction to knock out the guards anyway. What a charmer. Ashwatthama, being the psychic warrior he is, senses danger and tries to make a quick exit with Samanthi, only to come face to face with himself? Yep, it's a copycat hologram, and the two Ashwathamas go at it like it's a video game boss battle. Ashwatthama, the original, of course, knocks out the fake and reveals Bhairava behind the disguise. As Samanthi tries to make a run for it, Bhairava dodges Ashwatthama's attacks and goes for the grab, only for Ashwatthama to pull off a last-minute rescue and throw Bhairava off the bridge. But wait, Bhairava has hover boots. He recovers mid-air like some kind of futuristic superhero, only for Ashwatthama to wreck those boots in no time. Enter Bhuji, now firing at Ashwatthama. He's had enough and makes her explode. But surprise again, Bhuji's not just a robot. She transforms into a suit to protect Bhairava from the flames. It's like Iron Man, but with more sass. As the guards rush to help Ashwatthama, Manas and his army show up in aircrafts, making things even more chaotic. Bhairava, now wearing his fancy metal suit, charges at Ashwatthama. They lock into a wrestling match, but this time Bhuji gives Bhairava the upper hand, literally. He throws Ashwatthama off the bridge, only for Ashwatthama to rise from the ground like an unstoppable action figure. This guy just won't quit. Manas soldiers invade, and the rebels fight back with shockwave cannons and hover bikes. Bhairava and Bhuji save some civilians from falling debris while Ashwatthama deflects a flamethrower attack with a manhole cover. Bhairava tries again, but Ashwatthama's already stolen Bhuji's generator, classic move. Using some fabric, Ashwatthama ties up Bhuji and sends her crashing down. Talk about multitasking. Manas, meanwhile, fires a massive laser that wreaks havoc on the city. Aircrafts crash, rebels fly around on hoverbikes, and Samanthi is captured again. Just when Miriam, the rebel leader, thinks she's saved Samanthi, Manas blows up her escape aircraft. Samanthi falls, but not to worry, Bhairava's got her, and Ashwatthama's got Bhairava, creating a dramatic human chain over the edge of the bridge. It's like an action movie cliffhanger, literally. As all this chaos unfolds, The holy tree in the middle of the city is burning. You know, just to add a little more drama. A single leaf falls from the tree and lands on Ashwatthama's staff. That's when the magic kicks in. The staff falls out of Ashwatthama's hand and lands perfectly in Bhairava's. Surprise twist. Bhairava is actually the reincarnation of Karna, Ashwatthama's legendary brother. The staff's power surges through Bhairava, who suddenly turns into a fireball-wielding, staff-swinging hero. Now fully powered up, Bhairava starts tossing enemy aircrafts like they're paper planes. One even tries to shoot him, but he catches the blast with his bare hands and throws it back like it's a tennis match. The staff protects him from all the fire, and with a final epic jump, he blocks Manus' laser cannon, redirecting it and ultimately frying Manus to a crisp. That's one way to end a rivalry. With Manus gone, Bhairava grabs Samanthi and leaps off the crumbling ship just in time to avoid going down with it. But his power starts to fade, and he reverts back to his normal self. No longer Karna, just Bhairava again, probably with no clue what just happened. He jumps into Buji with Samanthi, ready to make their daring escape, but Ashwatthama, ever the stubborn fighter, breaks free from his bindings and isn't ready to let them go just yet. After a bit of a struggle, Buji activates her extra power mode, because of course she has one, and they soar away. And in one final flashback, Ashwatthama remembers how his brother Karna once saved him in battle, with Lord Krishna himself warning others that Karna was too powerful to fight. Turns out, Krishna was right all along. Karna did make history, and Bhairava, unknowingly, just repeated it. Back at the complex, Bonnie hands Yaskin the one drop of serum they managed to extract from Samanthi before she escaped. Yaskin injects it and immediately feels younger, stronger, and probably ready to hit the gym. He grabs the bow, now fully powered, ready for whatever comes next. And that's a wrap on the wild ride of Kalki 2898 AD. If you love the epic battles, shocking twists, and the chaotic fun, hit that like button. Don't forget to subscribe and ring the bell to stay updated on all things.